Hello everyone, Thomas Ronhaar here and welcome back to yet another league rating video on this channel. We are here today, as you can see, for PSGL round number 7, I believe. Around Spa, beautiful Spa-Francorchamps, lovely circuit to drive on. Maybe this game not so much as other games, but definitely the layout itself is very nice. Going into this race, I think we're leading the championship by 15 points, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong. But yeah, definitely having a good feeling heading in towards this race. About to start our first Q1 lap, and looking to try, and as always, get through with one set of tyres. As we go for turn 1, braking just after the 100, keeping it third, and then short to fourth on the exit. Important to use a lot of road on the exit because that's gonna stabilize the car a bit more under traction, and yeah, that is very important to do. Also, not hitting the apex in turn 1, but try and go around it. As Ismail Pookie goes quickest, or was it Ismail Fassi? I think it was that went quickest with a 42.2, and that's a very promising time. Definitely gonna be on the color for getting through. I believe so. But as we go through the second sector now, getting a pretty good exit and in towards this right-hander that leads into No Name, I believe. Keeping a fifth gear the whole way through.
Firework going on.
As I think at this moment in time there was firework going on in my town. Don't know why, but you probably can't hear it. But it was definitely distracting for me. So yeah, that's not ideal. But we have to push on to try and do the lap. I think if I stay silent for a few seconds, you might be able to hear it. No, I think at this point that stops. So yeah, 9-4 split, which is very, very strong. I think if we do a solid last sector, we can definitely go into the 41s straight away, which is a very promising time in Q1. If it can be in the 41s, that is very, very promising. As we going into the bus stop now, third gear for the first one, and then fourth gear, where you wanna get on the power across the line, and it is indeed a 41.955. 10th and a half clear of Barry Borman, and I think 2 tenths clear of Wilson using B3. And yeah, that was enough to get us through. And now straight away moving on to Q2 as we let the Ferrari driver Barry Borman through, who's about to finish his lap. And I believe he's going to go quickest with a 41.803. And yeah, that time is definitely going to be safe because we did a 41.9 in Q1. The track definitely improves a lot in Q2 as we get a bit distracted by Barry, who did win out the way. So didn't lose any time, but any sort of distraction can cost you those crucial hundredths of a second. 10th and a half up now on our use run. I don't know what the delta is right now, but I believe it was a 42.8. I might be completely wrong, like I said. I don't know the times I did. Through the second sector once again, nailing the left part, but the right part was not on the limit of the track limits. So that definitely, once again, cost us a few hundreds. But the rest of the lap was very, very strong. I did not leave any time on the table. You can see on the edge of track limits on the exit. And through pull and we go, tiny bit of a tap on the brake. And straight away on the power, you need the rotation with the brakes to be able to even go through the corner. Otherwise, just lifting is not going to be enough to get through. You can see right now we're 9.5 times up on our use run. As we go to the second sector split, it is a 7.40, which is 2 times faster than we did in Q1. So if we can have the same last sector, we can go into the 0.7s, potentially even go to the 0.6s. In Q2, which is very, very strong once again. I do believe my data was a 42.8, so I actually wasn't wrong this time. So through the last sector, through the bus stop, and then getting a bit of wheel spin on the exit, but still 41.746. Overall, very good lap. So we skip to Q3, and we need to get a bank on the board because if we can't get a lap in, and we don't have a delta for our last lap, it is going to be extremely hard to even be contention for pole. Um, I was thinking pole position was going to be into the 0.4s, maybe low 0.5. But a 0.62 free split is not going to be enough at this moment in time to fight for pole position. You can see Wilson used 41.834. That is definitely not going to sign if you want. As you can see, Barry Warren was 3 tenths quicker than Wilson used. And that time will be in contention for pole position, I was thinking. We are going to get very, very close to Barry Warren, but are we going to beat him? The answer is no, not yet. 300 behind with a 41.575 and solid bunker, happy with that, but we need to go quicker. And this is going to be my last lap, last attempt. Once again, maximum grip available in this last part of qualifying. 8 seconds left when we cross the line. We're going to be the penultimate car to finish the lap. I think J Payne behind us is the only car that's will have better track evolution than us. But we're talking about 2 to 3 seconds, so it's not going to make a difference whatsoever. Through turn 1 though, getting a pretty bad exit, and we are down before Puron, Arouge, and after Radion we are nearly matching our delta, but I think we are going to be up because of our delta is kind of glitched. We are half a tenth down on Barry Borum at this moment in time. Through the right hand we go, hitting that apex. A bit nice in the last time rounds. But we need to find more time. We are still down on our time. But you can see now, on the power very nicely and absolutely flying in this middle sector. The second part of this middle sector was so strong. And yeah, we need to take the risk. Puron though, lost 300s somehow. I thought I took it pretty nicely, but I didn't need all the road on the exit. You can see how crucial that is at the end of your laps. Through the last part of sector 2 now, you can see we're going to be a 10th up going into the last sector, and if we can continue like this, we're going to be in the 0.4s and maybe even in the 0.3s if we nail that lap. And if we are going to be doing a 0.3, that is going to be a new PB. My PB at the moment is 4.2, I believe, 4.3, 4.2. We are going to get very close to that, but are we going to beat our PB? Through the bus stop one more time, cross the line. Very happy with the lap, and 0.460 is enough for pole position ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix. You can see I'm gonna pause the video right here. Rain is scheduled at the middle of the race. It set only 1 slot for me, and apparently it was different for a few people. The second slot was also wet for some people, which I found very weird. Yeah, that's gonna be a key thing for this race. Need to be very careful about our strategy. If we mess it up, we might drop very far down. On this grid, we are gonna start our race right now. You can see Jake Burnham in P4 medium tires. The 5 red lights are out. Initially, the first phase was pretty bad, but the second phase was pretty good. So we stay ahead of Barry Roman into turn 1. We are clear going into Radio and Rouge. Didn't want to use too much of a battery ideally. But of course, a lot of people, including Jay Burnham, are going to try and get past on the straight. So we have to drain our battery. We have to absolutely be able to stay ahead of Barry Roman as he tucks in the slipstream, pulls out, and if we can just keep using battery and brake later, we are going to be clear into Le Cobb, and the through the right hand there we go. Clear of Barry Roman so far, who is still very close behind us. Jake Burnham moving up a place, overtaking Wilson Hughes, but he's on medium tyres obviously, so it's going to be pretty easy to stay ahead. Or overtake I should say, to Wilson Hughes. I think Jake Burnham was pushing very hard at the beginning of this race, and you'll see in a few laps how hard he actually did push. And yeah, moving on in a few seconds to the end of the first lap. We are still not putting away from Barry. Barry's pace was super strong, and yeah, you can see the delta right now on the top left. 3.5 times, 3 times, 2 times. I need even battery here because I am very vulnerable to Barry Borman at this moment in time. Trying to leave space. But yeah, we can't leave space on the outside, or on the inside, sorry, for Blanchimont. So if Barry gets another 2 warnings, and he can get the from moves, and yeah, that'll be no problem at all. As you can see, I wanted to kind of let Jake through, and stay behind him. Uh, but that's not what I wanted. We are side by side right now, and I need to be behind Jake, and not be side by side, because I don't want Barry to overtake me before riding on the Rouge. You can see Barry is still sort of using his battery to try and, put me ahead of Jake. Um, but if we can just defend the inside, we are going to be clear. As Jake absolutely closed the door on us there, nearly shoved him off. But that's all fine for now. And yeah, we need to try and stay within Jake's DRS on the hard tires, which is going to be tough. We definitely need to get a move on in this race, because otherwise it is going to be really hard to stay with Jake Benham. And yeah, he was pushing very hard, like I said, at the beginning of the race. And I am pushing as well right now to stay with Jake Benham. Don't want to use too much of my battery, but if we can stay with Jake, the gap between me and Barry will eventually equalize, and he won't be able to overtake, because I have the DRS and Barry has the DRS, and then we're on the train again. On the exit though of Sector 2, the beginning of Sector 3 I should say, 7 times the gap is right now, and I'm gonna have to use my battery to stay with Jake. Barry has to use as well. You can see the gap is going down quite a bit. So I reckon at this point we're all on similar ERAs, around 50 to 60%. As behind us, Luke Smith is battling with I don't know who that is. I think it's from Pookie. I'm not too sure though. Yeah, as I said, you can see Jay Bannon losing the rear right there, and going into this right-hander, he loses the car, and I had to slam on the brakes because I didn't want to get involved in Jake's incident. And yeah, it goes to show how hard he was pushing and trying to pull away from me and Barry. Moving on to lap 6 though, you can see the condition completely changed. Beginning of lap 6 it wasn't raining at all, and now in the middle of lap 6 it is absolutely pouring it down. So we're gonna have to box at the end of this lap for intermediates. Bit earlier than scheduled actually, a little bit of a voice crack, but yeah, we're gonna have to pit this lap for the intermediate tires. We are staying quite close though to Barry, which is promising. You can see now I'm losing the car in 6th gear in these conditions, which is quite obvious obviously. Need to stay within Barry's sort of half-second region. As I get told, apparently hard tires are better for now, which is absolutely not true. We are going to pit this lap for intermediates, as Barry goes a tiny bit deep. We are right behind him, going into the pit lane. And this is one of the crucial moments in this race. I brake pretty early, I didn't want to get involved, hitting Barry's rear. You can see right here though, I don't know why we're going 77 kph in the pit lane, probably because we're on the hard tires. But as you can see, in 2 to 3 seconds, Barry overtakes Ismail Fassi, Ismail Pookie, but not us. So we are in the net lead. You can see right now Jake Benham pulls alongside and tries to get close to us, but he decided to back off and move on to move away from the other drivers basically. Danny Bresnay and Harvey Cowan are still on track, but they didn't get the strategy right obviously. As Chanakins retires from the race and a safety car comes out. At this point in time, it said there was another 10 minutes of rain. But 2 laps later, it's completely dry pretty much, and we have to pit because safety car is still not coming in. And we have to pit this lap, otherwise we are going to be so vulnerable to the rest of the grid. You can see everybody behind us is pitting, but apart from a few drivers who actually did pit a few laps earlier. And you can see Esman Pookie, our teammate, takes the lead of this race. Cameron Dow is in P2. I don't know who's P3. I think Jan Otme at this moment in time is P5, if I'm not mistaken. As we come out in P8 behind Duncan Hoffland. And it is going to be a very crucial start, because we have to make some moves. Otherwise, it is going to be a pretty hard challenge. You can see, not getting a great restart, but we're all going to be bunched up. So we're going to be aiming for a good exit right here. And we're right by Duncan already. And I want to get a move on. I want to overtake Duncan, because we need to make some moves to be able to even fight for a potential P5, maybe P4. And if we get lucky, maybe a podium, but the win is currently far out of reach. You can see Duncan pulling away slightly at the beginning of the straight. I knew before the race Duncan was very high on top speed. You can see I'm using, but I'm not closing at all to Duncan, so I decided to back out and wait a few more moments for us to overtake him. You can see we're right behind Duncan, and I knew that the pace from us was better. Obviously, we have newer tyres right now than the rest of the field. A few people are also on softs. I found that quite weird, because 7 laps on softs around this track is a pain in the ass. And it's going to be very hard for Philip and a few others as well to stay with the guys ahead. You can see Philip overtake Jan Otme. He was still on intermediates. And he's obviously looking to trying to hang on for a potential safety car, so you can eventually pit for new softs and make some moves later in the race to get a few points out of it. You can see I'm trying to set up the exit, because I know Jana can't take this corner flat on intermediates. So we're right behind Duncan, going in towards Blanchimont. We're going to be side by side with Jan Ortmeier, and they cannot go well, because we're going to get absolutely shunted off the track. But that was, of course, because Jan was on intermediates. We tried to defend and accidentally hit Duncan, and in the last chicane we get pushed off again by Jarno, and I wasn't too happy about it, but I guess it is just very hard racing from both of us. Getting very lucky there to not get an illegal overtake, and yeah, still ahead of Barry, which is crucial, because he is our championship rival in P2 or P3 at the moment. I think Jake is actually far, more ahead of us in this race. But we're going to have to use our overtake once again. And Barry Borman is going to pull alongside. And he's going to try and go for a move in towards Lecomte, but it's going to end in tears. And yeah, like I said, very hard racing. Unfortunately, this game contact model isn't particularly great. And we get spun around by Barry, a very unlucky incident. Yeah, after the race, it will get looked at to see if there's any potential penalties from Barry. But we have to continue pushing on, because there are still a few people out on track that need to pit, and including Otis Lawrence, who unfortunately crashed out. And that's going to be a safety car. And after the safety car, you can see the restart is right now. A few people pitted, including Jake Benham, who's obviously looking to try and score a few points out of this. But we're P11 right now, we're out of the points, and this race has been so up and down for us. We were leading for a pretty good amount of time, but now we're outside of the points. And you can see what rain and like a certain situation can do to your race. Because right now we're, I think, the 5th car at the back. You can see I'm losing the car right now, and yep, getting a penalty, and it is pretty much game over already for me. Getting point on track, but you had to push on, like I said, and that is Patrick Siepel's round in the Alpine. So we're up to P9 on track, and it's not going to be enough to stay in the point. I think if we finish right now, we are going to be P15. So we need to push on and try and create a gap to a few guys behind. You can see skipping on a bit late into lap 20, right behind Wilson Hughes, and our pace was still very strong, like I said. And wasn't you saw me using my overtake, and he decided to not use it and let us through. As you can see, I'm using my whole battery right now. Um, Fair play to Rosa for leaving space. Very clean driver once again. Um, yep. Moving on to the penultimate lap of the race. We are going to set the fast lap of the race right here for a brief moment because Nicholas Longa takes it away, and I don't think Nicholas is going to score points this race. Well, at least he got the fastest lap as Patrick was retired from the race. Um, but from here on, nothing really happened until pretty much the last sector of this race. You can see the whole grid is bunched up, and that's because of Philip. His sides are completely demolished, and you'll see in a few times, in a few moments' time, how dead they actually were. He is going to take it flat, but he is going to lose the car in Spain's round, and a lot of people are flashing right now. You can see, including Luke Smith. But I can't really overtake because they're going side by side, so I need to save my battery for this last race for absolutely nearly spin. And trying to find some sort of room and trying to make some moves. Um, but unfortunately, it's only going to be P7 for us on track. And P10 at the end of the race. I believe Barry, Jake, and Yano all got penalties. So we ended up eventually P7 in this race after stupid inquiries happened between me, Yano, Jake, and Barry. I ended up gaining 3 positions and moving up to P7. So eventually still gaining on my rivals, which is very, very good, but not a very good race from my side. Uh, Too many incidents, but I guess that's just the luck sometimes you have. Um, Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Ciao.